The United States successfully concluded an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan, that killed the emir of al-Qaeda.
3 times, most recently in May, the president said that we would support Taiwan militarily.
We have said that we do not support Taiwan independence.
California has declared a state of emergency over the monkeypox outbreak.
This is not a speech of concession.
Holy cow, so just so you know, the show is much more interesting than those clips. I know those weren't the most exciting ones, but the Georgia governor's race is freaking fascinating. We droned an al-Qaeda member over the weekend. Nancy Pelosi officially went to Taiwan. China has responded rhetorically. We'll see if they do anything else other than that. And monkeypox is now an emergency in like 5 states. Emergency. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob. That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from my parents' house. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is August 2nd, the year of our Lord 2022. Holy cow, there's a lot going on. So now, just like I said, there's way more exciting stuff going on in the stories that we've highlighted at the beginning of the show that I want to get to. I really think that this is super interesting and just a good look at where things are in our political scope. I know that the majority of you watching this do not live in Georgia. I'm fully aware of that. But what's going on in Georgia right now in their gubernatorial race is freaking fascinating. Just to set this up a little bit, in 2018, Stacey Abrams ran against the now Governor Brian Kemp. Stacey Abrams, in 2018, did not concede the election. She never ended up conceding the election, and still to this day does not believe that she lost the election in the state of Georgia. Now, this is just to say that there are some people out there that have been called election deniers on the right side of the aisle, especially in the 2020 election. So just FYI, remember, Hillary Clinton did not agree with the outcome of the 2016 election, and Stacey Abrams in Georgia did not agree with the outcome of the Georgia gubernatorial election in 2018. So it's not just a one-sided thing, and I've said this time and time and time again. If we don't have faith in our elections on both sides of this, we've lost the country. That is effectively what we've done. But this is freaking fascinating. So I want to start off with this. There was a music festival that was going to be in Georgia in Monroe County, I believe. Channel 2, this is an article from a local Georgia outlet, obtained an email to show that actually, let me play this. The music festival got canceled. No one really knows entirely why. There are some people that are talking about, well, it's part of the gun laws in Georgia and you're allowed to carry in public places, which means you could have been allowed to carry in the festival, and the festival had too many problems with that from a security standpoint and just decided not to do it. Now, nobody believes that that's the entire issue, but this is freaking interesting just in terms of like the double standard. Watch this news clip and then listen to the response or the statement that Stacey Abrams gave. And then if you're going to be ahead of me and you understand what's going on here and why this is so hypocritical, you can let me know in the comment section what you think is going on. Also, if you haven't already, click the little like button, the little share button. Really does help us out. Appreciate it a lot. Helps us with the algorithms and all that sort of stuff. And give us a comment. Let us see what you think. All right, this is the festival getting canceled and Stacey Abrams, gubernatorial candidate in Georgia's response, and it's freaking so ironic. Check it out.
Governor Brian Kemp not commenting on the Music Midtown decision, but his opponent in the November election is certainly not staying silent. In a statement, Stacey Abrams says the festival's cancellation means that small businesses and workers who rely on events like Music Midtown and their tremendous economic impact have now lost incomes that help put food on the table and a roof over their heads.
Okay, first things first, I'm not a big fan of small businesses losing income, but did you see that? Let me go back and make sure we can effectively talk about small businesses and workers who rely on events like Music Midtown and their tremendous economic impact have now lost their incomes and to help put food on their table and a roof over their heads. Anybody ahead of me on the ironic part or the hypocritical part here? Isn't that exactly the same thing that Stacey Abrams cheered when the Major League Baseball took their All-Star game out of Atlanta, Georgia? Remember that in 2020, the quote-unquote super racist Georgia voting law, something that Joe Biden, the president of the United States, called worse than Jim Crow. Jim Crow on steroids, the fact that you have to show an ID. That prompted Major League Baseball to move their entire All-Star weekend out of the city of Atlanta, which, in Stacey Abrams' terms, hurt small businesses and workers who rely on events like the All-Star Game and their tremendous economic impact, and have now lost income that helped put food on their tables and a roof over their head. Interesting. Now, I want to move on here about this particular race. Now, if you weren't familiar with Stacey Abrams' act, again, she has not conceded the 2018 election yet. Let's watch a little bit of her speech after that election in which Brian Kemp got elected. And then there's a fascinating statistic that should be so indicative of how politics are run through the entire country. It is a scam and a half in a lot of these races. I'm going to play this clip of Stacey Abrams not conceding in her concession speech, and then give you this statistic that'll blow your mind. It blew mine. Watch this.
I acknowledge that former Secretary of State Brian Kemp will be certified as the victor in the 2018 gubernatorial election. But to watch an elected official who claims to represent the people in this state baldly pin his hopes for election on the suppression of the people's democratic right to vote has been truly appalling. So let's be clear. This is not a speech of concession. Because concession means to acknowledge an action is right, true, or proper. As a woman of conscience and faith, I cannot concede that.
So there's Stacey Abrams not conceding. I like when the videos come up because I get a chance to read the comments. Hey, Ginger, good to see you. Good to hear from you. So here's the statistic that will blow your freaking mind here. Stacey Abrams has raised almost $50 million in her gubernatorial campaign in Georgia. But, this is wild, just $7 million, only 14% of that fundraising for the Georgia gubernatorial race has come from residents of that state. It's all out in the open. People from other states, blue states specifically, are funneling money into Georgia. Remember where we were talking about election integrity and all that sort of stuff, and Democrats really can't stand dark money and big money from out-of-state elections coming in and interfering with their elections. Yet only 14% of Stacey Abrams' entire political campaign war chest comes from Georgia residents. On the other hand, let me see, that astonishing figure is juxtaposed by Abrams' opponent, Brian Kemp, who's raised most of his campaign dollars from in-state donors. More than 83% of the $31 million raised by Kemp's campaign and leadership committee came from Georgia residents, analysis found. So 14% of money coming from the Georgia gubernatorial election on the Democrat side in Georgia, and 83%. Now, maybe you don't like any of this. Maybe you don't like any money from out of state flooding into different gubernatorial races in different states. I think that would probably go against the First Amendment, so I would be against that. I think free speech and free ability to do what you want with your money is an important value in the United States. But for the people that claim constantly over and over and over and over again that election interference and stolen, the Hillary Clintons of the world, the Stacey Abrams of the world, it is an interesting fact that Georgians, by their dollar amount, do not want Stacey Abrams. Apparently. Again, maybe that's not what that means. Maybe she ends up victorious. Who freaking knows? But it's amazing the fact that only 14% of her campaign funds have come from the actual state that she is running in. I want to move on to this. I know this is kind of a quick transition, but this is Dang, there are so many freaking interesting things going on right now. Jacqueline, we will get to Pelosi in Taiwan. That is another massive story that's breaking right now. And also, just so you know, I am perusing through Twitter I'm trying to do a lot of things. Reading comments, going through Twitter. Jack Posobiec, friend of the show who was on last Thursday, massive Twitter guy, has been tweeting live. I'm just checking really quick to see if there's anything. Last thing you said about Pelosi landing in China is that Chinese fighters are up. No word on anything else going on. So that's that. But this is monkeypox. So let's see. Yesterday, Governor J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, Mayor Eric Adams of New York City, and Governor Gavin Newsom declared a health emergency. Now, this is a delicate issue, I think, because of the way that monkeypox is spread. We're going to get into it. Don't worry about that. But just so you know, any of this next segment is less of an attack on how people live their lives, but just acknowledging reality. If we can't acknowledge reality and act accordingly, where are we? What are we doing? Watch this quick clip from, I believe, KUSI in San Diego, talking about Gavin Newsom's emergency over monkeypox. Check it out.
California has declared a state of emergency over the monkeypox outbreak.
Governor Gavin Newsom declared the emergency, saying that it will help support vaccination efforts for the disease. The demand for vaccines has been greater than the supply as cases are rising across the nation. The state has seen over 700 confirmed cases of monkeypox, 26 of those in San Diego County.
Governor Newsom issuing this statement on the declaration saying, quote, "We'll continue to work with the federal government to secure more vaccines, raise awareness about reducing risk, and stand with the LGBTQ community fighting stigmatization. People in the community have become the target of discrimination after early reports on the monkeypox outbreak showed gay and bisexual men were disproportionately impacted by it."
Okay, so I don't understand the verbiage that they used there. They've been victims of discrimination. Well, the fact is it's just true. Now, we're going to play a clip from somebody that you guys all hate, that I don't think is a good American, and I think that I won't say that. He's got an ego on him. But this is a clip from the 80s, I believe the mid-80s, of Dr. Fauci explaining how monkeypox is spread. Counter to we can't just blame one people. We're not blaming anybody here, but the gay population is severely more affected than anybody else, and not talking about it doesn't help anyone. Acting like, oh, this is just an outbreak, and who knows, you might get it, you might not. I don't know, who's going to get it? No. This is specifically spread to people who engage in certain activities. And again, that's not a knock on anybody's lifestyle. It's just what is. Watch this from one Dr. Fauci in 1984. Also, if you haven't already, would love if you click the little like button or the little share button, or just comment, interact with what you think is going on in the world. If you think monkeypox is an emergency, I, for one, have been locked in this room for the last 3 weeks. I'm not touching anybody just to avoid the monkeypox. If you're like that, let me know in the comment section. Watch this. This is Dr. Fauci explaining how monkeypox is transmitted.
Disease. I'll get to in some of the latest slides how this disease, which we surmised early on, started off in the male homosexual population in this country. Not that there was anything intrinsically different or wrong or what have you about homosexuality. It was very simple. It's straightforward epidemiology. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population in which the spread among those individuals, if it's sexual contact spread, it's a perfect setup to spread.
Okay, and again, he said right there, not knocking anybody's lifestyle. I frankly don't care. I tend to be pretty libertarian in my views and what you want to do in your own house, in your own bedroom. Don't care at all. Having said that, it doesn't help anybody that governors and mayors and media figures are tiptoeing around the fact that, hey, monkeypox is spread from close interaction. And if you have a lifestyle in which you have said close interaction regularly with people that you don't know, you're going to be more susceptible to it. I am going to read this is here, trigger warning here. This gets graphic. I'm going to read a tweet that Matt Walsh covered on his show the other day. A Twitter thread. This is a lot. So if you have faint ears, I would tune out. I know that's not a good thing to say when you're doing a talk show, but this is a lot. So just fair warning. Here we go. This guy named Babe the Pig Boy, who I believe, if we're just categorizing what he does, I believe he is of the, he's a homosexual adult film actor. Let's just leave that there. He tweeted this last week. Hi, so I have monkeypox. Not fishing for any sort of sympathy, but since I'm already known for being pretty unabashed on the internet, I'd figured I'd give an honest account of how I got it and how my symptoms had manifested, hopefully to educate anyone curious. Here we go. Again, this is a lot. So I finally got back into the swing of things and attended a friend's birthday orgy on Saturday the 9th. We'll stop there. A birthday orgy. Just throwing that in there with no context. Oh yeah, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, my wife and I went to a birthday orgy. We had a good time, and then Sunday we went to the store and got some... Hold on, did you just say birthday orgy? Yes. Just kind of slips that in there. He continues, I had been watching the news on monkeypox, but the general feeling on it was really weren't still or developing day by day. So I, nor anyone else, was especially worried. It was a great time. The birthday orgy was a great time, according to this user. Again, sorry for the graphic nature of all of this. I think I came in sexual contact with somewhere in the ballpark of 15 to 20 different men. Again, if we're not going to be honest about how this thing spreads, it's useless. He continues. I can't even say this. I'm going to try and self-censor this on the fly. So I attended the orgy, had a great time. I'm not going to read that part. I think I had sexual contact with around 15 men, similar to an orgy on Saturday. I had a great time, met some people, stumbled upon, well, all right, I'm very much redacting a lot of that. So basically our body count here is at like 30 people having close, intimate interaction in 2 days. On Friday, I had a few quick hookups with local guys, 3 total, and on Saturday, I had a 4-way with some. All right, I'm done reading that. I'm sorry that was a lot. Essentially, it's a very promiscuous person. Now, generally speaking, I've mentioned just a couple minutes ago, I generally don't judge people's lifestyles, but that is a lot. That is objectively a bad idea. To be doing all of that sort of stuff. And lo and behold, this guy got the monkeypox. So, bottom line here is states are now declaring states of emergencies in order to attempt to get monkeypox vaccines, but for some reason, we're not really allowed to talk about how it's generally spread. Sexual promiscuity, specifically and particularly among homosexual populations. Again, that is not a judgment of lifestyle. That is just what is. And if governors like J.D. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, Mayor Eric Adams in New York, any of the other states that are going to declare emergencies don't recognize that and talk about it, and people don't know, where are we? What are we doing? I'm honestly worried to see some of these comments because you guys are snarky. Yeah, bad idea. You could get COVID and spread it, says Becky, if you do all of that sort of stuff. JJ, I can't tell if this is a joke or not. COVID and monkeypox are 100% real. Don't deny it. Nobody's denying that. We're just putting the facts out there. Loretta says, you're too funny. God bless. Appreciate it. All right, so I want to get to the actual important story of the day. Well, actually, not all of that is important, because I don't know if you've known or been living under a rock the last couple of years, but states of emergencies are a big deal. Governor Jay Inslee in Washington, a friend of mine, Ari Hoffman, who hosts the show on Seattle radio, tweets every single day. I think he's at like 863 days of emergency powers. So yeah, that is kind of a problem. Some of you guys calling this guy's names, wow. Anyways, I want to get to this. This is an actual story that matters. Not that that other story doesn't matter, but this actually does matter. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Before we do that, we're going to, geez, I don't know why these videos are starting so quickly. We're going to give the Biden administration a little bit of credit. Now, credit on top of a mound of problems that they caused. But I guess, I don't know, if you cause a problem and you fix that problem, not that he caused this entire problem entirely, but Afghanistan, the way that unfolded, do you get credit for droning a terrorist there? I think so. Listen to this. This is a statement from Joe Biden at the White House yesterday talking about the fact that the United States droned a terrorist leader of Al-Qaeda on Saturday. I am pro blowing up terrorists, just so you know. Actual terrorists, too, not like AOC calling domestic terror. If you go to a school board meeting and speak out, says the Attorney General, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Anyways, the FBI saying, well, domestic terrorists are parents who go to their school board meetings. Yeah, that's dumb. I'm not for blowing those people up. But actual terrorists who wish and act upon hateful and death threats to the United States of America, I'm pro us blowing them up, regardless of who's in the White House. So watch this brief clip of the Biden administration before we berate them on their backtracking of Taiwan. Check this out.
Americans. On Saturday, at my direction, the United States successfully concluded an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan that killed the emir of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri. You know, Zawahiri was bin Laden's leader. He was with him the whole time. He was his number 2 man, his deputy at the time of the terrorist attack of 9/11. He was deeply involved in the planning of 9/11. One of the most responsible for the attacks that murdered 2,977 people on American soil. For decades, he was the mastermind behind attacks against Americans, including the bombing of the USS Cole in 2000, which killed 17 American sailors and wounded dozens more. He played a key role in the bombing of the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania, killing 224 and wounding over 4,500 others.
So just FYI, yeah, I'm pro this guy getting blown up. And if Biden was the one who pulled the trigger on, not literally pulled the trigger, but gave the okay, I'm fine with giving him some sort of credit. I want to bring up a couple comments. This is kind of interesting. Mark says, credit done with the, I think this is supposed to say you, soy boy. Yeah, dude, if you don't agree with that, that is totally fine. You're welcome to your opinion. This is also a very funny comment. If you remember, Qasem Soleimani, I believe was the guy's name. Marina says, was the terrorist an honorable man and a scholar that the media will deeply mourn? Qasem Soleimani, when we bombed him, what was the official title in the WAPO? The title of the headline, it was like scholar and Muslim activist or something like that. Didn't say terrorist who's killed thousands of people. No, it didn't say that. It said something along the lines of honorable scholar or something like that. So Marina, good callback. Appreciate the input there. All right, want to get to this. Here's where we kind of diverge from general normalities. I am fully aware, by the way, that talk shows are not generally the place where people have ambivalence. That's kind of just the way that I look at things of, hey, some things are good, some things are bad. Sometimes people that I disagree with do good things, and therefore that's great. I've mentioned this the last couple days. I am on Nancy Pelosi's side of this. I don't agree with Nancy Pelosi on dang near anything. Policy-wise, how she goes about running the House of Representatives, I don't agree with any of it. However, When Nancy Pelosi said, I'm going to Taiwan, and then China said, you better not go to Taiwan, and then the Biden administration said, please don't go to Taiwan, I was on Nancy's side. Hey, pound sand, China. We're going to do whatever we want for the United States of America. I don't agree with Nancy on anything, but she's an American, and I support her more than I support the Chinese Communist Party. So there's that. But Nancy Pelosi officially a couple hours ago landed in Taiwan. Let me play this clip. I believe this is from MSNBC talking about Nancy Pelosi landing in Taiwan. And then yesterday, John Kirby from the White House press briefing room said something that blew my mind and will probably blow your mind, especially, well, watch this clip.
Walk back a little bit, but this statement, there you see her. Yep.
And as you point out, 3 times, most recently in May, the president said that we would support Taiwan militarily. And that was very striking because it was something that has not been stated that publicly. But the U.S. has said that it is not a change in policy. They keep saying it's not a change in policy, although his rhetoric, his language has been different. Jose?
So that's just Nancy Pelosi landing there. Don, I don't appreciate this sort of comment. This is not at all humorous. Don says, I hope she stays. Okay, it's a little funny. So I want to get into this. Okay, so we've talked about this plenty of times on this show. U.S. stated policy with regards to China and Taiwan. Mainland China thinks that the island nation Taiwan is theirs. Taiwan is entirely independent and will go to war to not become a part of China. The U.S., in terms of interacting with that butting of heads in Southeast Asia, our stated position is strategic ambiguity, meaning that we don't say anything about anything. However, like this MSNBC reporter reported just then as Nancy Pelosi was stepping on the ground in Taipei, Joe Biden on 3 different occasions has screwed that up. Now, first one I believe was Anderson Cooper. He said that if China attacks Taiwan, we would come to the defense of Taiwan. And 2 other times after that has said the same thing. Now, just to be clear, the president, as the commander-in-chief of the military, does set foreign policy. So technically speaking, he could have just changed it right there. And that could have been our stated position. But the White House continued to walk that stuff back, which gives us a weird view of the president of the United States. Now, obviously, we are all concerned with his mental health ability, and it is lacking in so many different ways. But technically, he can change policy. But since the White House walked it back, we assume that he didn't. Anyways, John Kirby, who I believe is the Pentagon spokesperson, I forget if it's him or the other guy that's the Pentagon guy, said this yesterday, completely contradicting everything that Joe Biden has said in those town halls and in various speeches. Check this out. Also, if you haven't already, would really, really appreciate it if you click the little like button or the react button. Maybe this makes you very upset. Maybe this makes you laugh. The share button, if you feel so inclined, or just give us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Don's comment of hoping that Nancy Pelosi stays in Taiwan. Again, we don't tolerate that sort of humor, but it is kind of funny. Watch this clip from John Kirby yesterday regarding Taiwan and our stated position.
We've repeatedly said that we oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. We have said that we do not support Taiwan independence, and we have said that we expect cross-strait differences to be resolved by peaceful means. We have communicated this directly.
Okay, so Kirby is saying that we do not support Taiwan independence. Now, he's trying to exemplify the strategic ambiguity sense of like, well, we don't think this and we also don't think this. But the way that it was written out or the way that he said it was not good, because it sounded like, hey, we're not going to come to your aid if China attacks. We're not going to come to Taiwan's aid. Now, I'm reading some of the comments. It's kind of interesting. Somebody said Taiwan is a part of China. Somebody said China has every right to invade Taiwan. Maybe you think that, but let me fill you in on a couple different things. About a year ago probably, when I was doing more scripted stuff with the Daily Caller, we did this big long piece, like 15 minutes, just on semiconductors. Taiwan, and specifically in Taipei and the surrounding areas, manufactures, I believe, around 70% of the world's semiconductors. Semiconductors are computer chips. The computer that you're watching on, the cell phone that you're watching on, your microwave, your car, your smart fan, your TV, everything has semiconductors. Taiwan manufactures close to 70% of them. Korea manufactures the second most, which I believe is like 20%, and Japan also manufactures. China currently manufactures about 6% of the world's computer chips. Around the globe, 6%. Just from that sole single issue, if China were to take Taiwan and increase their production of semiconductors and computer chips from 6% to 75%-ish, that would be a huge problem for the world, for the United States, for Americans living their everyday life, trying to just turn their phone on. That becomes a massive problem. So for that reason and many others, I personally think that Taiwan remaining independent is a good thing. And this is aside from the very, very, very adequate arguments of independent countries can't be taken over. What's going on in Ukraine, I don't want Russia to invade Ukraine or take Ukraine over, is what it is. Let me see. Stephanie Clark says words matter. Yeah, that's the other thing that I have, my issue I've got with Kirby. Other than Kirby is an idiot. Okay, fine, fair. But the way that he laid it out, trying to stress strategic ambiguity, that is not what he did. So there's that. Let's see. I think that's going to do it for us today. There's a couple different things we've got on the... oh, you know what? We'll save this for tomorrow. We're running up against some time here. But we do have a compilation of KJP, the new White House press secretary, not having anything for... I don't have anything for you right now on that issue. Yeah, that's... Oh, shoot. Sorry, computer's freaking out here. When we go on the road, this becomes a different beast to tackle. And if you were paying attention, or if you stuck around all the way yesterday, we're having some family issues. So not family issues. Everything's fine relatively, but I'm at my parents' house right now in a bedroom that I used to sleep in at some point. Yeah, shows a little. Well, we clearly were very, very late. So I don't know. I'll fill you all in on more of that as time goes on. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media accounts: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Getter, Truth. There's like Freedom State too, I think, that I'm also on. I'm on all of the social medias. I got to cut back. Also Telegram. If you guys are on Telegram, I use Telegram every day for work stuff. But I have a Telegram channel also. If you want to just type in JOBOB, you'll be able to find me there. The running joke, the Facebook Tyron, is still wrong. It's just at the Jobob. So there's that. Would appreciate a follow and notify me of anything going on in your neck of the woods that should be brought to national attention. So like we do every day, just want to say appreciate you guys sticking around, watching, and interacting with this sort of content. It really, really does help us out. If you leave a comment, like it, share the video, any of that stuff really, really does help us out. Continue to keep the ball rolling and do this every single day from wherever we are. So I appreciate all of that. That being said, we will see you tomorrow, same time, TBA on the same place. Also tomorrow, if you live in Southern California, I will be in Murrieta at 412 Church, I believe, speaking with Pastor Tim Thompson on a lot of different issues. So come say hi if you happen to be in that area. That's going to do it for us today. I appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless America. What? Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah. No, okay, that's fine.